have a huge bunch of new tips to share with you guys all about vending at craft markets. Learn from my mistakes on this one. The amount of times that I've had people come up to me and say, the next tip I have for you is one that can really expand your reach as a maker. This one is a big one. Guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you're all doing really well. In today's video, we are going to be doing a part 2 to my original craft market tips video that I published probably over a year ago now, and it's one of my most viewed videos on this channel, so I thought it would only be right for me to do a part 2 because I have a ton of tips to share with you guys. I've been doing craft markets here in the UK since May 2022, so well over 2 years now. I've had experience vending at craft markets of all different sizes, a few different locations, some in the city, some in villages, outdoor and indoor, and I feel like I have quite a bit of insight to share with you. So I have a huge bunch of new tips to share with you guys all about vending at craft markets, and hopefully it will help some of you guys out. Maybe some of you watching this are small business owners like me and want to go out and share your work in person at craft market events, or maybe you are just into crafts and interested in the process. Either way, I really hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you have any questions or any other points you'd like to make, please leave them down in the comments and I will get back to you. So like I said, I have done a video in the past all about craft market tips, so I will leave that down in the description. You can go and watch that after you've watched this one. Doesn't matter which order you watch them in because all the tips are slightly different. If you're new around here, my name is Millie and I run the online stationery store Prints by Millie, where I design and sell cute and quirky stationery items. I have my own website on Shopify, but I also have an Etsy shop as well, which is where it all started back in 2020. But like I said, I've only been doing craft markets since 2022, so I've had a couple of years of experience. And with all that being said, let's dive straight in and get to the first tip. The first tip I have for you guys is to make sure you pick the right markets to sell at. And by that I mean make sure the craft markets that you are applying to align with your target audience and the products that you sell. For example, some markets might focus on handmade crafts, some markets might focus on vintage, some might focus on food. So you want to make sure that the markets you are applying for and wanting to vend at do align with the products that you sell. So for example, you may not necessarily have a food business and a food truck, but it might be that if you sell prints like I do or stationery, do you have any products within your range that are food related that you could apply to that market for, and you could just put all your food related products out on your table and kind of switch up the display from what you normally would for normal craft markets. So I'm not saying that if you have a stationery business you can't apply to food related markets, because you can, but you want to kind of tailor your products and the selection of products that you are taking to cater to the audience that that market is going to bring in, such as foodies. Whereas I personally wouldn't apply to any vintage or pre-loved craft markets, because all the products that I make are newly made. Like I make them myself, I make them to order, so none of my products would really fit in at a market like that. So the markets that I tend to apply for are artisan markets that celebrate all kinds of crafts and art. I apply to makers markets, which again is all handmade items, and just any markets that are along those lines really. I did try doing some kind of village craft markets when I first started out, but I found that they really weren't worthwhile for me because the people that those markets were bringing in were not my target demographic. They were elderly people mostly, and they're just not into kind of like cute, quirky, kawaii inspired stationery. Whereas my stuff mostly resonates with people like 25 to 40 years old and children as well, because my designs are quite bright and eye-catching. I sell a lot of smaller items like stickers, which appeal to kids because they can spend pocket money on it and all stuff like that. So yeah, make sure you are picking the right markets for the products that you are selling. But if you want to venture out into markets that you don't normally venture out into, see if you can kind of cater your selection of products to suit that market demographic, like the foodie markets that we spoke about a minute ago. Tip number 2, if you are fellow UK habitants like me, this one is a big one. Be prepared for all different weather conditions. It might be like this where you are in the world as well, but especially in the UK, the weather can literally change in the click of a finger. So you need to be prepared for all different types of weathers, especially if you are vending at an outdoor craft market. If you are at an outdoor market, make sure you have brought your gazebo with you. Most outdoor markets don't let you even vend there if you don't have a gazebo, gazebo, so make sure you have a gazebo ready if you are applying to outdoor markets. Make sure you have good weights for your gazebo in case of any wind, because I often found that sandbags just didn't work for me. They weren't strong enough. So I actually bought some weights from Amazon that I put on either foot of the gazebo, and you can actually layer these as well. So I definitely recommend getting some proper weights instead of using sandbags, or some people use like giant water bottles, which probably work well as well, but I've never personally used them. And the biggest thing for me in terms of being prepared for any weather conditions is to make sure you've brought things with you to protect your actual stock that's displayed on your table. Learn from my mistakes on this one. When I was at Bell's Pumpkin Patch last year, which I will be at again next month in October, but when I was there last year, we were in this like giant makers marquee. So we weren't in individual gazebos, we were in this big marquee all undercover. And although we were undercover and it wasn't raining, it was really moist. The moisture levels inside that marquee were so high because it was quite chilly outside, and obviously there was the heat of everyone inside the marquee. And I hadn't thought about this, and obviously a lot of my products are paper products, for example notepads and things like this, and sticker sheets and stickers, and I had just laid my notepads out like I usually would, just like this, with no protection on them, and the moisture levels inside the marquee were creating a lot of condensation, and my notepads were getting so damp, like the paper was getting damp. My stickers were flopping over, especially my sticker sheets, because of the moisture. So definitely next time I go to Bell's Pumpkin Patch next month, I am packaging everything in cellophane sleeves, biodegradable cellophane sleeves, to make sure that the moisture doesn't get to them this time. It was completely my fault. It was nothing to do with the organisers or anything. In fact, Lee, one of the organisers, he kept coming around with this giant mop to like mop the condensation off of the poles at the top of the marquee, because sometimes they were dripping onto people's tables. They were going above and beyond. It's just something you can't help. It just means that I need to be more prepared this year for when I go to Bell's Pumpkin Patch. So that is what I'm going to do. So yeah, just make sure you've covered all bases and you have packaging and things to protect your stock from the elements. The next tip I have for you is one that can really expand your reach as a maker, and that's to not just focus on in-person markets but also explore online markets as well. I was lucky enough to vend at an online market hosted by the lovely Emily Harvey Art back in May. Every year she does 2 or 3 eHearts markets, and they are online markets that she hosts, and I think the one I did back in May had over 100 people selling at that market. Pretty sure it was over 100, which is just insane. And because I was a part of that online market, I'd set up a 10% discount code for people to use at the checkout to take 10% off their order, so I could see how many orders that market brought in. This online market happened across one weekend in May, so it was over a few days. My sales literally tripled that weekend compared to what I would usually get, so it was amazing for me, and the sense of community was just incredible. Online markets are just such a great way to connect with people and customers outside of your local area without the limitations of booth space and making sure all your products can fit on a table, and without the limitations of geography as well. There were people all over the UK and internationally taking part in this online market that I did, and it gives you the opportunity to sell from literally anywhere from the comfort of your own home, which is why I'm really excited to share a really exciting opportunity that is coming up. Palm Street, who are the sponsors of today's video, are hosting their first end of summer online makers market from September the 13th to the 15th this year, and it's an amazing way for makers like you to showcase your products to a national audience, all from the comfort of your own home. So let me tell you a little bit more about it. Palm Street is the perfect place to discover carefully curated handmade goods, from pottery to art, jewellery and so much more. And one thing I especially love about Palm Street is that on their app, every single vendor is carefully reviewed to ensure that their products are handmade and not mass produced. So with Palm Street, you know that all the products you find on their app are truly special and one-of-a-kind items. During the market, you'll not only get to enjoy free shipping and exclusive discounts, but you'll also have the chance to shop in real time during live streams with the makers themselves. It's such a fun way to shop, interact with the artists and find one-of-a-kind treasures. And for those of you watching who are US-based makers, Palm Street is an amazing platform to sell your work. They offer super low selling fees at just 5.9% with their free plan. Plus there are no booth fees to worry about, so you don't have to pay to vend at their market. You get access to a national audience with great support, and all you have to do is focus on your craft. So if you click the link in my description, you can download the Palm Street app and you can bookmark the online makers market so that you will get notified when the market goes live on September the 13th. So whether you are a US maker yourself wanting to sell your products, or whether you are an arts and crafts enthusiast and want to find some unique, one-of-a-kind items, Palm Street will definitely be the live shopping app for you. Thanks so much again to Palm Street for sponsoring today's video. The next tip I have for you guys is to make sure you keep track of every single sale that you make at your market. When I first started doing craft markets, I did write down every item that I sold, but saying if someone came and bought 3 separate items, I would just list those 3 items that sold. I wouldn't make a note of the fact that it was one person who bought those 3 separate items, so I would just come home with a list of items that had sold, which was fine, but I began to realise that I didn't actually know how many customers I'd had at that market because I couldn't remember exactly if they'd just bought one item or multiple items, so it was hard to gauge how many people had actually stopped at my stall to purchase something. So I quickly realised this, and now whenever I go to a market I make a note of each sale as opposed to just each item that had been sold, if that makes sense. So if someone came up to my stall and bought a few stickers, a mug and a sticker sheet, I would write a note and put sale 1, stickers, mug, sticker sheet. Whereas before I would have just listed a bullet point of mug, sticker sheet, stickers, and that would be it. So it just makes it a lot easier and better for me to see exactly how successful each market is in terms of sales, but also in terms of customers as well. And of course, making a note of all the items that you've sold comes in super handy when it comes to doing your accounts. Also, when you're trying to track inventory and at the end of the market you know exactly what you've sold, you can then replenish that ready for your next market as well. Rather than a few days before the market, if you hadn't made notes of what you sold at your last one, you'd be rummaging through your stock thinking, I don't know exactly what I need to make. So it just makes things a lot easier if you just take a notepad with you, or if you take your iPad, write it down on a spreadsheet of everything you sell during that market, and your future self will thank you. The next tip I have for you is quite an obvious one, but it's to create a really inviting display that is going to attract people and bring people to your stall. By an inviting display, I mean having prices displayed clearly and having your signage nice and big so people can see exactly what products you sell from quite afar, so they don't have to get really close to your table to actually see what you sell. You want to use height as well where you can, so get some displays that are much higher. You can display things on crates, boxes, just to lift things up a little bit. I think when people just display everything flat on their table, it can just look a little bit uninviting and you can't see exactly what they're selling because you can't see it from a distance. You have to get up really close. Also, little things like adding personal touches to your display. I have a PVC banner on the front of my table, and I also make sure that my displays are painted pink to match my aesthetic as well, or like a light wooden colour just to make sure it matches my branding and my brand aesthetic. I think that's really important. Also, using props can be a really nice way to elevate your table display. For example, at a Christmas market I did last year, I bought a cute little Christmas tree with some rainbow fairy lights on that I displayed on my table just to make it a little bit more festive and inviting and warm, and I think that did work. I think it looked really sweet, and it was just that extra little touch that I think people appreciate. The next tip I have for you leads on really nicely from the last one, and it is to avoid overcrowding your stall and your table, which I think is really important. It can be really tempting when you go to a craft market to try and display all of your products and put everything out for people to see, but putting everything out and making your stall really busy can actually be quite off-putting and overwhelming for customers if they're walking past, and it kind of takes the value away from your items because there's so much going on. It's hard for people to zone in and appreciate and look at one specific product in detail. Sometimes less is more, I think, and it's important to focus on showcasing a curated selection of your products rather than putting absolutely everything out there. You need to leave enough space for people to browse comfortably and use clean and uncluttered displays to make your products really stand out as well. I have a couple more tips for you in this video. The next one is to make sure you pack the essentials for the day. Prepare a little market kit with everything that you might need during the day. Hand sanitizer, water bottles, some little snacks, sweets for a little energy boost, some chocolate, water, tape, scissors. You always need scissors. At least I always find that I need scissors. When I did my first few markets, I'd end up going around every stall being like, I quickly realised that I need to take scissors with me to every market that I go at because I always need them for something. Another thing I always need is blue tack, so I always make sure I bring that with me as well in my little kit. Also, don't forget to bring business cards and promotional flyers with you as well if you have those, because craft markets are the perfect place for people to pick up a little business card or a flyer and they're going to take that home with them and have a little look. Even if they don't purchase anything, they might really love the things that are on your stall, but maybe they've already spent a little bit more than they'd have liked to at the market market, so they're going to take a business card so that they can have a look at you and remember you as well. The amount of times that people just walk past and take a business card, it's a lot. So yeah, I think it's really good to have them out on your table as well. The last tip I have for you guys is to make sure that you promote your stall ahead of time and make people aware that you are going to be at that craft market. Take advantage of your social media and make people aware that you are going to be at that specific event. Message your friends as well, tell them where you're going to be and when you're going to be there, because more than likely they're going to want to come and support you at one or more of your events. Share the event details to your Facebook page, Instagram story, share some sneak peeks of the products that you're going to be bringing with you as well. You could maybe even offer an exclusive discount for your social media followers to say you can use this code, or you can say this secret word to me when you come and visit my stall and I will give you X amount off your order, or maybe you could give them a little freebie or something. I think you'd find it surprising how many more people you can bring to the market and to your stall by promoting it. The amount of times that I've had people come up to me and say, oh, I heard you talk about it in a YouTube video, so I thought I'd pop along, or oh, I saw it on your Facebook that you shared it. I didn't expect people to be coming up to my stall and saying that, but it happens at most markets that I go to now, so I think that's a really important thing to do. Make sure you promote the market you are going to and let people know that you are going to be there. And those are all the tips I have for you guys to share in this video. Again, I will leave part 1 of this video down in the description if you'd like to go and check that out as well. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like so that I know you enjoyed watching, and it will help to push this video out to other people who like watching these kind of videos as well. I do upload studio vlogs every week to this channel, or if it's not a studio vlog, it will be a video like this one, a tips and tricks video, all things small business related. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future ones. I just want to say a huge thank you to Palm Street for being the sponsors of today's video. Again, I will leave a link down in the description to their app where you can bookmark their online makers market starting on September the 13th. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye guys!